In today's episode, we speak with Michelle Magnetti, a seasoned HR leader who recently transitioned from her corporate role. We'll discuss her career path, the transformative impact of AI on the workplace, and her perspectives on the future of work and her children's future in an AI-driven world. We'll also touch on her current aspirations in the HR space. Welcome to Parent Boss Leader, the podcast where we explore leadership and innovation in the staffing industry. Brought to you by ATR International, I'm Laura Munson, an experienced staffing executive and a multitasking busy modern mom, sharing insights to help you lead and empower your team. Tune in, subscribe, and elevate your leadership because building a great team starts with great insight. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Laura, I am so excited to be here. Love this podcast and just happy to be here.
Yeah, let's dive in, get some juicy questions going. Michelle, your career journey has been very impressive. Can you tell us about your background and the key roles you've shaped your professional path?
Yeah, definitely. I would be happy to. A lot of my background, honestly, Laura, is just truly figuring it out as you go. And I feel like a lot of people resonate with that. I think a lot of people kind of dive into their careers not knowing exactly where they're going to go. I was not one of those individuals who knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. I was a first generation college student. So a lot of the kind of starting it out and kind of just figuring it out. I didn't know how it worked. So I was fortunate to have tremendous support from my parents, and then also later from my husband Tom, and kind of helping me maneuver through what my career looks like today. So much of it has been just gut feel, instinct, and actually my HR and talent acquisition career started at a co-ed softball game. So my
Mm,
background prior to that was in advertising and marketing, and I played on this team and
mhm.
had somebody who ended up being a tremendous mentor for me just say, hey, I have this job open. I feel like you'd be a really good fit for it. It was a decent raise, and I was like, sure, why not? So the
Yeah.
rest truly is history. And that first job in recruiting really allowed me kind of that term fail forward before it was a thing. Having that leader teach me kind of the basics of everything and really challenge me and push me in ways that if you would have asked me at the time, I didn't feel ready for, but
Mhm.
really gave me the opportunities to be able to do that and really stand on my own 2 feet. And it was really at that company. I was there for in a non-linear way for about 11 years. So you really are able to learn and grow in that space and in that time. And then the sector that I belong to went through a divestiture. So basically taking my section of the company and removing it and then creating its own, almost like a startup at that time. So it was really that role in that divestiture that kind of shaped my way forward. I was able to really look at the operations of how teams work and kind of really problem solve, innovate, and really transform an organization. And that has been kind of my platform moving forward is high
Wow.
change, high transformation, and really being able to do that.
Yeah, it's been amazing watching you over the years because you and I have known each other for a while. Even
Yes.
seeing all the advice you've given to companies, you have done some amazing things, and we'll chat a little bit about it in our podcast. I wanted to talk a little bit about how AI is revolutionizing different parts of the workplace. How do you personally see that AI is changing talent acquisition and management? Can you give some examples that you see how businesses are building strategies around AI?
Mhm. Definitely. AI isn't as scary as I think everyone is making it out to be. It can
Mhm.
be a really big support to anyone in their roles, personally or professionally, honestly. And AI will be adding as many roles into companies as it will be taking away. So when you look at it from that perspective, I think it takes a little bit of the, gosh, this is scary kind of out of it. And in the talent acquisition space, AI could become a support literally every single area from sourcing to communicating with candidates and things like that. And as a
Yeah.
TA leader, I would definitely recommend finding ways to make sure that AI can help your team really take away that administrative burden. So there's so
Hmm.
many ways to be able to do that. But
Hmm.
really, if I think about my perspective on AI, it's a
Hmm.
lot less of what is it going to do in talent acquisition and more what is it going to do on a broader scale.
Hmm.
So I actually say AI can help you get more strategic so that you can hire less people, which is a very controversial thing for a
Yep.
talent acquisition professional to say. Hiring
Hmm.
less people means job instability, but not necessarily when you look
Hmm.
at it from a different lens again, where you are coaching your company or people that you're working with to look inside the company and figure out how the AI piece can actually upskill or reskill people who
Hmm.
work for you today so that you
Hmm.
can help them move internally. Then employees are craving the opportunity to grow. They are craving the opportunity to feel engaged with their company, and they're craving to be tired. They're craving to be tied to the company's mission.
Hmm.
And in order to grow in their careers, most employees, actually 60% of employees, are looking outside of their organization. This is
Hmm.
a crisis for
Hmm.
companies. I mean,
Hmm.
absolutely. So by creating an opportunity for internal employees to grow, to develop new skills, you're actually taking AI and having it work in your favor. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
absolutely. I think some key points you've shared. Yes, AI definitely on a larger scale, it's kind of changing the world that we live in. Being in, say, myself in the talent acquisition space, I know your role, you're much broader in HR, but we were wondering how's this going to impact the recruiting industry? And even at ATR, we leverage artificial intelligence to help scan the nation for top diverse talent, military talent. And it's really just a tool. In no way does it replace recruiters. Recruiters still have to interview. There's that interpersonal piece that recruiters have to really know the candidates that they're submitting. You and I had talked before, and I think it was certain role, like for example, financial analyst positions may be more replaced with AI. What other type of positions do you guess would be replaced by AI?
Definitely. I remember that conversation, Laura, where we were just talking about AI and kind of, where is it going? And I gave the example, like you mentioned, of a financial analyst. Well, right now, AI can help you as a company analyze financial data. So
Mhm.
that need for a financial analyst becomes less. However, it doesn't mean that financial analysis is going away. You still need
Yeah.
somebody who can take that information and build a strategy from it. So instead of going into financial analysis, perhaps people will start to look at financial strategy and how to build that for companies and what to do with it and how to actually implement that in an organization. So we're really trying to shift the types of skill sets that we're looking for and really help people understand the bigger picture of where AI is going to take a department, a skill, or a company. So that is great. And so to answer your question, what other skills do I think AI will bring into just people who are in college or people who are in the workforce or people who are in companies
Mhm.
today? So I mentioned strategy. That's a huge piece. AI, as wonderful as it is,
Yep.
cannot build a strategy for you. It can build pieces of that, but it needs your information and your insight to be able to drive that forward.
Mhm.
Also, critical thinking. This is a tough one in general, especially as AI becomes a helpful tool. The
Mhm.
critical thinking piece starts to fade a little bit. So, by really working on those skills to continue that critical thinking piece and provide solutions and really break down problems and their complexities, that will really help as you kind of move forward. Also, just working with people in general. So the human element stays. AI cannot take over everything. You have to have that human element.
Mhm.
And working with people, different personalities who have different perspectives by
Mhm.
managing projects, things like that. So
Mhm.
AI really will become the need for that skill really overtakes AI. And
Mhm.
then also just the global perspective. So, what's happening in a city, a state, a country, AI might be able to tell you, oh, here's some snippets of what's going on, but it's you as the human that figure out how to work that and interweave that into your company and kind of take that focus and
Yeah.
build on that for you as a company.
Gosh, well said. And the human aspect of it too. I remember a couple years ago going to a TechServe conference, and statistics were a couple 100 million jobs maybe going away because of AI. And then the next piece, the follow-up sentence was, but don't worry, we're still going to need humans to operate AI and figure out how to leverage AI. It just might be the jobs the way we know them now are changing. There's still going to be opportunity. It's just going to look different. Companies may need to train more, both perhaps in the staffing world or in corporate companies in general. We're kind of at a new dawn. Wanted to shift a little bit. You're a mother of a teen son and a daughter. How do you envision their future in an AI-driven world? What skills or areas do you believe they should focus on now to thrive in the evolving landscape?
Man, such a good question. And definitely having two teenagers at home, this is something that is near and dear to me. I really look at developing my children. We kind of call it like the school of the hard knocks, real life, So not only are they responsible for doing well in school and doing well in the activities that they're involved in, but we also teach them other things. Financial
Mhm.
literacy is
Yeah,
huge. So that's a really big one. Teach them how to play poker. So it's cool to have, just like
yes.
real things in the real world. We teach them about nutrition. We teach them about sleep, all of those
Yeah.
things. So that kind of being the foundation. So as I think of my children as they are getting ready to go to college to choose a major or to go to a trade school and kind of go down that path, because trades are another area that AI cannot take over. So, kind of looking at, do you do business school so that you can own your own business, kind of looking at all of those things. But as we build that foundation for them, we look at what their interests are and how is that going to shift and change over time. So,
Yeah.
for example, law, if that was one interest,
Mhm.
AI can help write briefs, it can help all of those things, but it cannot argue in a court of law. It
Mhm.
cannot do the digging and, as um, going down some path of like, oh, they're stakeout or whatever the case may be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't know the law profession very well.
Mhm.
But we're really looking at what are those skills that they are interested in today, and where do we see those skills developing and going over time? So that mentioned the information that I mentioned before, using data strategically, critical thinking, communication, that written and verbal communication. They'll still have
Yeah.
to give presentations. They'll still have to
Yeah.
be involved in discussions, um, working with multiple people. All of those things come into play even more. We work really hard to enhance that and really
Mhm.
try to share with some of the schools that are out there what
Mhm.
AI is going to be shifting and changing so that
Mhm.
they can prepare their students to move forward in the workforce eventually.
I think this is great little nuggets you're sharing about parenthood and hopes for kids. I have young kids as well. A lot of people listening have young kids. It's really a new day. And I love what you share too about not just college, trade schools as well. It's almost like we're waking back up and realizing, oh, there is a huge area for trade schools. It's not just college these days. Let's talk a little bit about you personally, Michelle.
Yeah.
You recently transitioned from your corporate HR role. You formed a new company in the HR space. Would love if you could share with our listeners a little bit about your transition and what you're doing with your new company.
Yes. So as I looked at what I wanted to do next, and actually even years before, knew over time how I wanted to shift in my career, I knew that there's a big gap in the marketplace. So when I think about companies that are out there today, hiring is hard and people are just overwhelmed. So people being hiring managers, recruiters,
Yeah,
executives, they're truly just overwhelmed. Everybody is doing more with less, and that's
yeah,
really hard. So, one of the
yeah,
first places that kind of feels the brunt of doing more with less is in the talent acquisition space.
yeah,
So, I want to be able to help companies who can't afford executive headcount or that executive strategy
yeah,
succeed in hiring. So back in 2016, I created this model for the company that I was working for at the time that really got deep into the relationships with people who are hiring. So not only, oh yeah, you're cool. I'm going to say, what are you hiring for? I'm going to find you people. No, it's really who's on your team. Where are the gaps on your team? Do you need to have different perspectives on your team? You know, what work are you working on? What work are you working toward? And really understanding the inner details of a team and an organization so that as a talent advisor, you can actually prep and plan for departures or future business and really understand the skill set so that you can bring the right people in, have good quality hires of people who want to stay. And there's several ways to do that, but that's essentially what my new company, Magno, which just launched
yeah,
recently,
yeah,
is set to do. It's to provide that high level strategy so that your leaders and your talent advisors are able to hire quickly, successfully, and with high quality. And so in 2016, I launched that and then have since launched that model at two other companies. All are still using it today and all still very successful. So it's something that works, but it's also something that not everybody knows about today. So I'm here to kind of create that awareness and to really help companies.
gosh, I love that. I think you're gonna blow the industry out. You are amazing at what you do. And what excites me being on the staffing side is you're coming in as the expert, kind of sharing ideas, strategies, what the company needs. And I get excited on the staffing side, thinking we can find the talent.
Yes.
It's exciting. It's so exciting. And I can't wait to see all of your success. So tell us a little bit. You have such extensive experience. What advice would you give to HR professionals who are navigating the changes? And we'll say specifically by AI, since our
Yeah.
conversation's been
Sure.
around that, and other technology advancements. What advice would you give to folks who really have to be sitting in that seat to navigate the change?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the, I think, biggest areas and where people really get stuck is change is hard. And it doesn't have to be. If you really do the research and kind of understand where things are going, you're able
Mhm.
to take the scariness out and you're able to really help support your teams as well and your hiring managers and your candidates in understanding where things are going. Be
Yeah.
open to change and
Mhm.
don't try to stick with where things are today or where they were
Mhm.
yesterday because it's
Mhm.
going to move and you have to be able to move with it. You've got to have that agility. So that's my advice is really don't be afraid. Do research, learn so that it kind of takes the edge off a little bit and you're able to focus and move forward.
Thank you. I think that's good. Did you hear that, listeners?
Yes, exactly. Don't be afraid.
Yeah,
Change
have
is
no
good.
fear. Yes.
Yes.
So, as you career, Michelle, what legacy do you hope to leave in the HR field? And what would you say your immediate goals are in the future? Two
Yes.
huge
Oh,
questions.
two huge questions.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would say my legacy. is, having been a leader for many years, one of the biggest pieces that I try to leave with each person that I work with is to find balance. And I'm not saying it needs to be a 50-50 balance of work and home or anything like that, but find your balance and stick with that. Find your boundaries and stick with them. So if you go into a organization and they're like, I need you at 9 p.m. and I need you on the weekends and all of that, if that's out of the normal bounds of what you've accepted, it's up to you to hold firm with your boundaries. Your friends and your family are going to be with you always. A
Yep.
company, they may like having you there, they may appreciate your results, but at the end of the day, when the dollars don't align, that position could be eliminated. And at the expense of your friends and family, it's just not worth it. So for me, it's really important to me that people treat themselves as a human first.
Mm-hmm.
And work is important, and the stuff that companies are doing is so critical to the world and to, all these different things. You are a human and you need to treat yourself as one. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of my legacy. That's something that across all of my organizations that I've stood pretty firm on is take the trip, take the day off, the work will be here for you. So that's kind of the legacy piece. And as I think of what are my big goals kind of moving forward for me personally is really just the education. So as I think about Magno and where it's starting and where it's going to go. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, companies need help hiring and I can offer that as a solution to them. And I'm super excited to do that. That's obviously a big goal is that awareness, but kind of secondary to, the purpose of the organization is actually educating people on how to strike that balance, how to push back in a way that is really graceful and meaningful,
Mm-hmm.
and just how to live your best professional life while balancing so many other things. So it's kind of an education piece in addition to providing services to organizations.
Amazing. Michelle, where can people find you? Would you say that LinkedIn is best, or what would you suggest?
Yeah, LinkedIn is best. So you can connect with me, Michelle Magnetti. Obviously, you'll see my name on there. You can also connect with Magno. You can see how it's spelled just right up here.
Mhm.
It's a tricky one. So if you find me, you'll be able to connect to Magno as well. But that is the primary place. You can find Magno on Instagram, Facebook, and X as well. So
Mhm.
you can kind of follow that to get some good tips and tricks.
Perfect. Michelle, what a treat to have you today. So grateful to have you share your expertise.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Laura. I know we've talked about this podcast so many times, and I'm just really honored to be here and to be able to talk with you. I love talking with you. It's one of my favorite things.
Well, thank you. Likewise. I think we learned a lot about your past HR experiences, really a meaty topic about AI. There's so much
Yeah,
curiosity around that. And then also really sharing how you do want to come in and help companies with their strategies. So, to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Remember to subscribe to Parent Boss Leader for more stories and insights. And you're welcome to leave a review on your favorite podcast on the platform. Join us next time. Thanks, Michelle.
thank you.